If you guys know, there's a big YouTuber named MKBHD. I'm surprised if you don't know, it's insane. He does tech reviewing. He has 18.6 million subscribers. All his videos get millions of views, and he has the power to make or break a tech product. His reviews have a lot of influence. If he says something is shitty, the general consensus will be that it's shitty. He's got power. And he just reviewed the Humane AI pin, which by all accounts is a trash product. But he called it the worst reviewed product I've ever reviewed for now. And now there's a huge online debate over whether he is not using his power for good. You know what I'm saying? After saying this company's fucked. What I think is insane is that he's just saying a bad product is bad. The fact that they're pushing back on that is crazy. This guy thinks it's distasteful, almost unethical to say this when you have 18 million subs. Hard to explain why, but with great reach comes great responsibility. Potentially killing someone else's project reeks of carelessness. First, do no harm, which by the way, is not the YouTuber oath. He doesn't have a fucking medical degree. Secondly, if he waters his shit down and starts making reviews that aren't honest or seem to be too safe, he'll lose his views. People will go elsewhere for more honest shit. That's just how, that's how it works. What you have to understand about this company, if you don't know them, is these are the creators, right, of the Humane AI pin. It's like this little pin. You can ask it questions. It can project things on your hand. It's kind of useless. It's just fucking way, way, way less useful than a phone. There's no reason to carry it around. It costs too much and has a subscription cost. It's $700 with a subscription cost. It solves no problems. It's useless, okay? It's just a bad product. There's just no way getting around it. Wild how many people want to see you fail. We'll make it all that much better when we win. Easy to dogpile, much harder to build. Yeah, the software is not where it needs to be, full stop, and that's on us. But this overwhelming negative sentiment, what happened to optimism? What happened to pushing things forward? Bro, we don't owe you shit. You got a fuck ton of money. They raised an incredible amount of money and they came with this. I don't have to buy your shit. I don't have to support your shit. Can you imagine if Steve Jobs released an iPhone that like kicked you in the dick? People don't want to buy this. People don't support building in public. It's hard to make something good. It's easy to make something bad. It's even easier to act like other people are the problem after making something bad and people saying it's bad. I know very little about your product, but I'm assuming people don't want to pay for optimism. Instead of asking what happened to optimism, i.e. blaming prospective customers, why not ask what happened in terms of engineering? Yeah, it's crazy. They raised $240 million in funding with massive amounts of engineering talent. That's crazy. There are so many businesses that could have turned $240 million into something great. And they punted on this basically this fucking chat GPT pin. So people are mad at MKBHD for exposing him, I guess, publicly and not being less harsh, which I think is crazy. But it's also worth mentioning that he did something similar with Fisker, the electric car company, and called it the worst car I've ever reviewed, basically torpedoing the company. And I found this video clip of Fisker calling MKBHD's studio.
Okay, so we have a customer who we believe bought a car from you who's blowing up social media.
It's MKHBD. What's going on? So you want to talk to him and see if you can calm him down or something?
Because I was about to completely redeploy to go out and fix this car for him and update all the software.
Like he's gonna fucking re-review the whole thing, delete his whole vid. The desperation, bro. But I've been there. I mean, we had a good product, but every time we would launch something in NVIDIA, and like this would happen every time, bro. We'd launch something, and then Linus would have a review that was actually really fair. It would like go over the pros and cons and usually end up saying it's a little expensive. Fine. But his title and thumb would always be like, NVIDIA war crimes? Oh, NVIDIA kills gamers in the streets? We would always, we'd try to be like, hey, yo, that title and thumb though. I mean, this guy's job is clearly hard. He works at Fisker. He's getting paid. He has to find a way to like.
If you could just share this guy's information, I'll be grateful. MKHBD, whatever he is.
Crazy they don't know. That's them getting blindsided, bro. So much of their fucking company would rely on this guy. It's fucking wild. This is what I'm talking about with the larger story of like how creators are reshaping a lot of businesses. I mean, if you are a tech product company, you cannot no longer afford to ignore MKBHD. Like those people are your sales. That's your marketing. No commercial you do is going to have as much impact as that guy's review. I actually think most people are on MKBHD's side here, but there is the take that like he should have been fucking nicer because of what he wields. Even if I try to understand that take, I think you have to understand from the other side that the second he starts being like too inauthentic or like sugarcoating shit, it'll fucking kill his channel. The trust will be eroded. It won't do it immediately, but it'll happen. He was harsh but honest. The product has major flaws. I mean, what's crazy is that they didn't see it. You know what I'm saying? Making this product in 2006 would have been like, huh, is that useful? I hope nobody invents a phone that could go in our fucking pocket. You know what I'm saying? The ability to project something on your hand is so fucking stupid when I can hold a phone in my hand. Let me do a quick watch. I don't watch the whole thing.
First, I'm going to tell you what it is and what it's supposed to do.
That's so kind.
And then I'll tell you what my experience has actually been.
That's more than generous.
So it answers questions or helps you out with things like brainstorming or remembering things.
This is what your phone does. This is what everybody already solves all of these things with your phone and they already own it. Why am I spending $700 to do it in like a more possibly inconvenient way? Let me hear the review. This thing is bad.
So unfortunately, bad at almost everything it does, basically all the time.
I do want to say, I can imagine them sitting in the office. You know what I'm saying? They spent $240 million of investor money making this shit. And they're sitting there and they're like having to watch this. And it would just, the fucking pin drop silence. You click out and it's like fucking 3 million views. It's like, oh God, the feeling has got to be bad. But understand that that is entirely within your control. That you had the money. You blew it. They were excitedly tweeting that they sent him one. Oh, really? Bro, if the product's that bad, you should have tried to avoid him at all costs. Pretending to just get it off his radar. Very generously says, I have many thoughts, ... And they give him the eyes. Don't pull a Fisker on them. This is the guy that was like, what happened to optimism? What happened to building in public? He was too excited. That reeks to me of insanity though, because how did they not know when this was put out into the world that it was bad? I can understand like maybe they blew the money. You know, a lot of tech founders, they take all that money and they blow it on office space, too many employees, and going to conferences. They just fly all over the world to talk about their shit. They don't do anything. Instead of working, they go to like 400 different fucking conferences to talk about how they're changing the world. And then they get to live like kings on investor money for a few years. More power to them. If they can't come up with something, then do that. But like, to think it's actually going to be good is crazy. They also could have grifted this. If you raised $240 million, they could have started a mysterious AI startup that's an app and probably be worth fucking $500 million right now. They could have grifted and done better. They could have done nothing because once they're a physical, it's so obviously useless. But if they were like, we are an open AI competitor that's going to be better than ChatGPT, they would have got a valuation of, you know, fucking $3 billion just off the desperation from tech companies to find an alternative. You probably won't mention this because he's more of a tech guy, but like wearables are still fucking corny. Outside of the heart of SF, I don't see people walking around with Apple Vision Pros anymore. You look like a fucking weirdo, dude. People are already naturally wary of this type of shit in general. Our pace of technological advancement is so fast, it's isolating us. And then you're gonna be a dude talking to your fucking pin like it's Navi from Zelda. Imagine you didn't know who like the third president was, and instead of Googling it on your phone, you fucking press your... That's a cringe thing to do. And then project it onto your hand, and then it gets it wrong.
But even on this fast studio Wi-Fi here, who designed the Washington Monument?
Find a designer. The Washington Monument was designed by Robert Mills, a prominent 19th century American architect from South Carolina. The construction was eventually completed by Thomas.
That is awful. That is truly, unironically, I wouldn't pay fucking $40 for this. It would have no use. $700 plus, that's crazy. Is it glorified Siri? It's worse.
But it's also just wrong all the time. Like, I remember asking it days before the solar eclipse when the next eclipse was, and it said 2044.
This is a truly monumental failure. This would be bad as a high school project. This is so bad for $240 million.
What's the traffic to the Empire State Building from here?
Use the voice command feature of AI Pin to ask for traffic information to the Empire State Building, and it will provide you with the details you need.
Isn't that what he just did? If this came out of Apple, Steve Jobs' ghost would rise up from hell and kill the engineer responsible. This is bad. It's like that classic thing of like cool engineering in search of a problem instead of trying to solve a problem with cool engineering. You know, they probably hired a bunch of hardware guys and they probably made something cool, but they didn't have any idea of like what it would actually be used for or how it's going to help someone's life. And it just has no purpose.
This pin cannot set a timer. This pin cannot set an alarm.
This should be clear. I think that is probably the number one use of like Siri is to set a timer. If we had to narrow it down to the number one thing that AI voice assistants are used for, it's, you know, set a timer or remind me.
There just are no apps. So when you first sign up with your Humane account.
After this review, I'm sure there's going to be a lot of apps. I'm sure everyone's going to be eager to pivot their company to making apps for the Humane AI pin after this brilliant launch. I cannot wait to play Subway Surfers on my
Apple,
hand.
Google, Microsoft, and Tidal. So the first three are basically for your contacts, and then the last one, Tidal, is the exclusive music partner. Gmail,
it's got Tidal, bro. It's just change my mind. Wait a minute. I didn't know it was an exclusive Tidal. Jay-Z's Spotify competitor that, I was going to say flopped, but he convinced Jack Dorsey of Twitter to buy it. Jack Dorsey is the living example of I will spend $500 million for dinner with Jay-Z. This is Jack Dorsey on the yacht with Jay-Z. Jay-Z looking really interested.
But I really genuinely think the biggest problem this pin is going to have is that smartphones are kind of OP.
Yeah, respectfully, MKBHD, and respectfully to the team that created this, we should have known that. Everyone should have known that. That's not a surprise after trying the pin for a week. That is what everybody should have fucking heard when you heard this idea to begin with. It's so absurd as an idea. You do not need the physical one to realize. It's bananas, bro. What is this pin trying to solve? It's trying to solve the fact that the founders raised a bunch of money and want to make more money. One thing I do think is not a crazy wearable idea was the Ray-Ban Meta glasses with the camera in the lens. Has anyone tried those? I thought they were kind of dumb, but I think I saw a pair in real life recently, and it's hard to tell unless you're looking for it that they have cameras in them. It's not obnoxious. It's dystopian in a way because it reminds me of that Black Mirror episode where they record their eyes 24/7. But like people might use that because they want to record some life things without taking out the phone. And bro, you know what though? Let me tell you about this. Let me flip the script here. I'm gonna now do marketing for the AI Humane Pen. Ladies and gentlemen, tech has been encroaching on our lives ever more day by day. Teen suicide is up. Social media use is up. Phones have caused lower literacy rates, lower performance in schools, okay? They've distracted us in our relationships, in our lives, from our jobs. What we need is a return to monkey. We need worse technology. It needs to be harder to use. You'll spend more time with your friends, more time with your family, and less time scrolling through TikTok. Imagine. Is it going to be as dopamine inducing to scroll through social media when it's on your fucking hand and it's like a green JPEG? No. Humane AI is a return to a simpler time. A Nintendo DS era of technology when it was simpler, when it was harder to use. And we spent more time outside. That's why I'm asking for another $240 million of investment to make Humane AI Pin a real thing all over the world. That's my Jeff from Community speech trying to save AI.